We're going to start off with the market here in the first of the card, and that's the Harrison's Energy Solutions Premier. We're going to bring in these men, Bevan Sweeney and Thad Taylor as well. Wonder 550, Satu Lagi at 551.90, and a total excess at 550. Princess Emily, so good on the first day at Hastings at $6, and What a Smasher at 7 2.30. It's an even market, Thad.
Yeah, exactly. You've nailed it. Well, 9 in the race, 8 in single figures, Aidan, so particularly even. But they have singled one out here in total excess. Many different form lines to try and line up here as well. So it's a tricky one to start the day, but total excess resumes. Impressive 2-year-old winner it was for the Richards team, Te Akau team. And opened 6.50, fourth favourite, now joint favourite there at 5.5. Clearly our worst result in the race. The other two there are interested in, Princess Amelie. Was very good, as you say, the first day. Had a tough run and comes out of the Hawke's Bay Guineas behind Madison County, so plenty willing to forgive Princess Amelie. And Satu Lagi, another different form line again here, Aidan, for Patrick Campbell. Was an impressive and easy winner in a maiden race at its last start. So tricky way to start the day, very even market. But what I can say is clearly best backed is total excess to kickstart your day.
Yeah, I saw a lot of speed in this run, Cleaver and What a Smasher most of all, but we did see that the Te Akau run at total excess was a leader throughout on debut. And Bevan, this is a day that they've produced extravagant to win this race back in 2015, and they won the 65 1400 metres with Embellish last year, so they have a decent record of producing good 3-year-olds on this day.
Yeah, Aidan, and Sir Nate goes around in the last on the program, and he's going the 1600 metres, hopefully going down to the Guinea, so that adds a little bit of interest as well. I'm with you, I see really strong speed in this particular race. What a Smasher, Cleaver going forward. Miss Valencia can probably take up a position. I don't think Joe Waddell will hand up that inside gate, and if he's not leading, he's definitely trailing in behind What a Smasher. That gives that horse a great chance. Princess Emily, I think, will get one out, maybe 3 back, and look, she is a very good horse. She just had to work so hard in the Hawke's Bay Guineas to get across, and that probably put paid to her chances. Very good on day number 1. And then hard to posse up Satu Lagi. Now, the form line actually stands up around this horse because it's a second to Hypnos backed up with that horse going to a 65 and going close. And gee, this horse could have won by an absolute margin on this occasion. Darryl's hardly touching him. He had links up his sleeve. His sectional was good. He's still a work in progress. He just raced a little bit greenly in the trailing position once he got there, but look, he's got a fair bit of ability, as you can see there. I suppose with him, inexperience from that gate and the speed that's around him, he's possibly going to get a margin back, but I'm going to go with him. I think he's a pretty smart sort of horse going forward, as is half of this field, to be fair. It's sort of the pattern for the afternoon, Aidan. I went with Satu Lagi for Patrick Campbell, who had a good winner through the week. Thought Princess Emily, I'll go on that first day form at the Bay. The One More Wonder, certainly had a lot of form recommended behind Meter Sensation, a little bit unlucky, and if the speed is really into this race, you should see that getting home strongly. And your total excess, I can understand the money coming there. It's got the draw to get the trip and should be in the mix as well. But 3, 5, 1 and 4 in a very even race, and that is the procedure for the afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. What a way to set the scene for a terrific day. It's racing at Trentham. Satu Lagi was an 8-length trial winner before going to the races as well. Let's move you on to the second. And there we see Awatani coming out of that last day win at Hastings. That was terrific, 5.50 1.90. Now, that came off a decent speed settling back, and I think it's much the same here with Gift of Power. King Cougar likely to get forward here as well. Where's the money going, Thad?
Yeah, look, Gift of Power last time sort of faded, was awkward out of the barrier draw rate, and customers certainly willing to give Gift of Power another chance. We know how good she is at her best, but if she can get any sort of a soft lead in front and jump with them, she's going to be awfully hard to beat. I see Lisa will press aboard today. She'll be giving it a good run, you would think. We have got to shorten it down the page there and tell you what, Aidan, was $11. Resumed with a very nice second, 11 into 8.50 Wirramu pin aboard. That's clearly our worst result in the race at this stage, is tell you what. Awatani is a horse that tends to run for us, Aidan. Doesn't have a lot of friends out there in the betting public. I'm not too sure why, because as you say, that resuming win very good. And obviously King Cougar has got to be afforded a big chance in the race. But you look, best backed at this stage is Gift of Power, just ahead of the each way shortener there, and tell you what.
Yeah, and another interesting speed influence here is Rockin' Affair. Let's have a look at the speed map and see where they've got that horse. In fact, is that out? Must have come out. So I've just got to get my scratchings up to date. Gift of Power, the likely speed in the race according to our map here, Bevan, and 4 from 4 at Trentham.
Absolutely. Again, this is another race where I saw a lot of speed. There in the speed map, you've got the likely influences, Gift of Power, Perfect Harmony, Magicella, Lucy and Rio. Manhattan Street's probably going to put even more speed into this particular race, so they will run strongly. As far as I was concerned, I think Dad's got the mover, and that is my best value on the program here this afternoon. Loved the $11 around. Tell you what, look, if this horse had had a little bit more luck at New Plymouth and the leader hadn't rolled off the rail and let the good horse in Santa Monica come through on the inside, you'll see it happen shortly. So they're side by side at this point. One's going to get a really nice trip up towards the inside, and that's the winning of the race. It sneaks inside of Perfect Harmony, and you see Tell You What out wide. Now he just takes a couple of bounds to clear traffic. That holds him up for a couple of strides, and then he really flies. Now in this race, with all that speed in front of it, I posit Tell You What possibly up, 3 back 1 off, with the claim on his back. I'm going to go with him at some value in this particular race. A Gift of Power. Now this is the race with form recommends around Awatane. Now, of course, he wins this race, so therefore he goes up in weight. So he's carrying 59 today, carried 56.5 at Hawke's Bay, but gee, it's a win. Now, Gift of Power had missed away, worked around them, sit outside Vinnie's Volley, who is a pretty smart sort of horse. And look, she doesn't throw it away. She's got a good, strong attitude about her, but she's soft at the line, isn't he, Awatane? He'll need good speed. He'll get it here this afternoon. His ears pricked at the line, and he does back up good, fresh up performances. He's placed 2 of 2 second up. That said, I am going to go with Tell You What. I thought the money and the value was too good to ignore, offered by the bookmakers. Now, King Cougar, does he need a slightly stronger rider than Sam O'Malley? And that's no disrespect to Sam. Wiramu was aboard him last time, and he never really got the opportunity to sit down and drive him out, and maybe he just needs that, but he had the 16.5, so they're taking the 4 off him. If the rain comes, he comes right into this, and he's still right in it, even as the track conditions are this afternoon. So him in for second. Look, Gift of Power always runs nicely here. I'll put her in for third, and Awatane, if the speed's there, Aiden, look out for him. He'll come across the top and then be in the mix. 11, 1, 3, 4, race number 2.
Good on you, Bevan. Thanks for that. Move you on to the third, and this one rating 82 over the 2,400 metres. BT Junior at $5.50 and $2. $6.50 Bizwinkle, High Spirits, Duplicity at $6. Again, another really even market, Thad. What's the money telling us?
Yeah, it's a little bit confused, Aidan, as you can imagine. Look, BT Junior, punters have been burnt maybe one too many times here. It's our $5.50 favourite. And not a lot of interest in BT Junior at this stage. The one that has shortened up is High Spirits, Aidan. Pretty talented staying there for John Barry. It was $7.50 into $6.50 here. Just looking for any other action. Wazuzu at $11. Some interest there and some really interesting money right down the bottom of the page. You'll see it there on the tote, $12 currently in Monarch Chimes. Back from obviously its steeple and hurdle campaign in Australia. Saw some funny money for it in the New Zealand Cup during the week, Aidan, out there at I think around $41, $51. So that might be the target. If that is the case, they're expecting a pretty decent run, and it is a losing result for us Monarch Chime, so maybe stick it in as a bit of a blowout. But High Spirits the each way, I'll say, in the third of the day.
Yeah, I think it is the target, Thad, and remember this horse winning on the flat. I think it's Sandown before the jumps preparation in Melbourne, so it does have that ability as well. Take a look at the speed map for you here, and I had the 2 and 6 out in front here. Bizwinkle there, that's out in front there, along with Centre Attention. Yeah, El Bayardo, another one to press forward. Interesting race, Bevan. 2,400 metres around Trentham. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a bit tactical.
Well, it's an interesting race. This is pretty much a New Zealand Cup market shaper, isn't it, with all the nominations going forward to that a particular race. Look, I settled on High Spirits, but more of a place bet than a win bet, and I think it's that type of race. She has been here and won over 3,200 metres through the carnival last year. Look, they really tried to push her into that race at Hastings last time. That's not her pattern. She sort of sits back and gets home, but they were worried about that on-speed bias. She's got the ability certainly to be winning this particular race. She's getting short enough in the market, that is for sure. Outside of that, look, BT Junior, I think it's got to be an include there somewhere. Duplicity, it'll be interesting with Duplicity. I think Duplicity's gone 2 great performances, the first 2, and it trips well short of its best, but it's missed that run at Otaki last Sunday over the 2,000 metres, so it has to go 2,400 metres today. So maybe it's just going to need that a run here this afternoon to head down to the Cup. It's a $21 shot in the New Zealand Cup, Duplicity, and I sort of threw in centre of attention. But to be honest with you, Aidan, I went through this field and I think you could make a case for many of them. Now, I tell you one thing, was a little bit unlucky last time at Hawara after getting shuffled back. We know its abilities. If it rains, look out for that. Cape de Jour, I think clearly looking for rain, was in great form when the rain was around to last time. And Gorbachev is a useful horse. We've mentioned Monarch Chimes. I've got 11, 1, 4 and 6, but I might not have 1 in the trifecta.
Yeah, it is a really difficult race. I tell you one thing on top. At 31s, I thought the money was okay. Anyhow, let's move on to the first of our stakes races. Race 4, Handley Formula Wellesley Stakes. This one over the 1,000 metres, 2-year-olds in action. The last sight and at the Taylor's Niece. Both of those going around in the Kevin Hickman colours. Of course, they sponsor us here on Punters Lounge Live, Valachi Downs. $5 Beauty Diva, 7's About Exuberant, and $6 First Rock. That money keeps on coming for Exuberant Theatre. I think I saw $9.50 yesterday, $8 when we looked earlier on, and now to 7.
Yeah, and our worst result in the race, Aidan, look, Stephen Marsh has 2 in the race, Sci Far, who was beaten by Last Sight when it was a $1.70 favourite at its last start. So all the Stephen Marsh army are on the 3 Exuberant at this stage. Has to go up against some solid race day form, Aidan, and we've sort of priced the race day winning form as the best form. But to be fair, we got to the Taylor's Niece a little bit late last start. It was an absolute horrible result. We haven't seen any of the amount of money we saw for the Taylor's Niece on debut there at Te Hiranikau. But look, Last Sight, $4.20, Beauty Diva, $5. Explosion was 3rd behind, the Taylor's Niece at its debut, and a bit of money out there at $13. But yeah, at this stage, they want to be on the first starter, Exuberant.
Yeah, not an easy race. Bevan, we get to you. Plenty of form to dissect. It's not an easy speed map here as well, obviously, with Exuberant and Sensible getting back because they just haven't had a chance to assess some race day. But yeah, it's going to be tactical as well.
Yeah, I wrote down in my book as I was doing the speed map, this is just confusing because I'm not sure where any of these horses are going to posse up. Therefore, it makes it very difficult to really assess the race. You only have to go on race day performances. The trial of Exuberant was pretty strong as well. If the money's coming there, you'd have to take note of that. It is a go racing horse, so I imagine it would have a fair team of followers behind it. This is its trial at Ruakaka on the 9th of October. This was over 800 metres. They clipped it out in 48, and the horse wasn't overly extended to win on this occasion, and clearly had the other, I think it's another go racing horse to its outside covered and kept up a strong gallop, ears pricked, looked pretty sensible and professional. So on that sort of trial, if it can jump from a good gate, imagine that it could be in the mix, but just hard to assess. Let's have a look at Beauty Diva. This is the performance at Counties. You'll also pick up First Rock, who is a horse I really like, and I was tempted to put it on top. First Rock up to the 1,000 metres today. Everything about this horse sort of says to me the further the better for it, and I thought it was a little bit awkward this way going. I thought it was better the other way round when it was at Wanganui, and it comes out to make that run. Maybe just got lost out in the centre of the track, but it just kept on grinding on. 1,000 metres, I think it is the late closer in this race, and I expect it to really put in a performance. Last Sight is the 6th in the book for the James and Wellwood team. Now, this is a very, very good ride by Cameron on the day. He's down here to follow the ship. Cameron Lemus for the James and Wellwood stable. Now, you'll pick up Last Sight. It's going to get the nice inside run here and put up a very, very good performance. So you can only go on this race day performance, which says to me the horse had the ability to take a nice gap and the confidence to go through there and the ability. So it's a horse that's probably going to go on with the job. It's 1 of 2 for Kevin Hickman. So best luck to him, and his second charge is the Taylor's Niece. Now, look, you worry about a draw when you see 1,000 metres at Trentham, but I think it probably suits this horse. It missed away this day, it circled them, it then sat on speed. And look, they put the blinkers on debut just to get that win. Interesting, there's not a lot of money out of the bay for the horse, but its last 200 metres when Jonathan puts the stick away is pretty strong now. It's gone through the line. If it doesn't catch the start, it's very difficult, 1,000 metres here at Trentham. But it is the race day performance out of all of those, Aidan, that struck me the most. So I'm going to go with the 7 on top with no real surety here. Look, the value for me is the 8 First Rock. I really like this horse, 1,000 metres with a bit of speed on. Thought the 5 Beauty Diva and outside of that, the 6 Last Sight. And look, I'm interested the money around Marsh Runner with 1 J Waddell aboard. That would prick anyone's ears up from a good gate, but just really hard to assess this race, where they're going to posse up and the true ability of these 2-year-olds and how they go forward out of their first start, you know. So, look, we'll just stick with the best race day performance I've seen out of this group, the Taylor's Niece.
Good on you, Bevan. That's a hard race to assess for sure. Let's move you on to the other feature, and this one is the Gian Hickton Thompson Handicap at Group 3 level over the 1,600 metres. We've got a favourite here, Windspell, after a Group 1 placing last time, 5.50 and 2.20. Jason Waddell doing the riding for John O'Benner and Holly Wynyard. $6 Dolcetto, Art Deco, Dark Princess, $6.50 for Seraphim. Well, it is really the order of the day, these even markets, isn't it, Thad?
I'm glad I'm not paid to pick him, Aidan, because this is again a very, very tricky race. We've gone with Windspell at 5.5, but we probably could have had 2 or 3 as the favourite in the race. Look, obviously comes out of a Tarzino where it ran third. Got a sticky draw. Probably what I can say about this market is that customers are trusting the Met Service at this stage. So Windspell being a little bit quiet, you'd think it would want a track that was no worse than slow. Dolcetto and Dark Princess are the 2 that won't mind a little bit of rain potentially. I see Dark Princess has won 3 from 6 on heavy, and obviously we know the quality of Dolcetto, and it won't mind a bit of sting out either. So they're on the $6 line, they're joint second favourites, and they're where the money is going at this stage. As I say, Windspell a little bit quiet, bit of money for Fawn down the book there, out there at $18. It's building its form nicely to perhaps a win. And good old Authentic Paddy's another one at $15. Probably wouldn't mind a little bit of rain, and we know how good he is. He's not top weight in the race either, so he'll enjoy that. But yeah, trusting the Met Service, they're expecting a bit of rain and they're backing accordingly, Aidan.
Yeah, the other one's Art Deco, isn't it, too, who will appreciate a rain-affected track. Let's have a look at the speed map here. I mapped this about 2 or 3 times and still couldn't find any speed, and Authentic Paddy's the likely leader in the race, but outside that, it does suggest that this might be slowly run, Bevan, and because of that, I think this throws this race into a really hard race to assess.
Yes, I've agonised over this race, Aidan, as to where do we look, the bottom, the top? Do we take Group 1 performers against up-and-coming horses? Very difficult. I think Authentic Paddy, I've spoken to Robbie Hennon this morning, he said in theory with the blinkers on he'll just be that little bit sharper out of the gates and he intends to push forward. I think Raw Impulse will probably posse up from the 2 gate, and then it's a real shakedown after that where they're going to find their positions in the running. Oh, I went with the Group 1 horse in the end. By default, really, Windspell for Jason Waddell and the Benner and Wynyard team will bring you the performance last time over the 1,600 metres. And in the end, I went, well, which is the best form race to be going by? And this is it, because you've got a horse that's going around in the Cox Plate and Melody Bell, who's been the best horse in the country through the first part of the season. And gee, it's a pretty good performance from a horse who you think probably needed a little bit further than this afternoon. You've also got High Flyer out wide, so it's the form race. So I've decided to plump for it. Yes, it's gates awkward, but it's got Jay Waddell in the saddle, who's riding beautifully at the moment. So the tempo, I think, is the only major concern around Windspell. But gee, where do you look? I had that on top. Yeah, I'm with you. I am a Dark Princess fan, so I'm going to put that in for second. Seraphim, I think, second up will run a race, and the record second up is outstanding. I then put in Raw Impulse with the blinkers on and that jaw to sit out possibly outside the leader on a very slow tempo, but gee, I can't believe I've left out Dolcetto. Paddy's going to push forward with the blinkers on. Gee, Ringo went an absolute fantastic race at Matamata with 60 kilos in behind Deals and Heels. Gets him with 55 kilos today. He won't know himself today, Ringo. So I'm going to go with Windspell because it's the greatest form race for this particular race, Aidan, but I've got no strong confidence. There's a couple at the bottom of the book who have got a lot of ability and coming through the ranks clearly.
Yeah, exactly. And when you simplify it like that, Bevan, which you've done, it makes pretty simple reading, doesn't it? You've chased Savvy Cope and and Melody Bell. It's very, very strong form. Okay, let's move you on to the last of the 9, and this one, the Harrison's Curtains and Blinds Premier over the 1600 metres Sir Nate at $5 and $2. As you heard from Bevan, progressing towards the 2000 guineas. 3-year-old against the older horses, but looks well capable here. 6 is about the ripper, $7 for Irish Flame, cutting up rough. Tinkerlicious in the market at 8s. Thad, how's the support been for Sir Nate?
Yeah, it's been steady, Aidan, without getting too carried away. Look, Irish Flame, the 4 on the book, certainly taking a bit of money at this stage. You wouldn't deny Irish Flame a win. I mean, I don't know what happened last night. Got a little bit unlucky there at Hastings. So does been pretty strong form for John Wheeler and the team. Jason Waddell aboard. But yeah, look, Sir Nate, $5. People certainly happy to take that. We know how good he was at his last campaign and probably building pretty nicely. Obviously coming out of that Hawke's Bay Guineas race. But yeah, they're specking a couple. They haven't made it any easier for us in the last. Aidan, look, Hank Moody out there at $35 is currently a losing result for us. Finn at 50s is currently a losing result for us. So, yeah, as I say, Sir Nate, I wouldn't be putting you off from the action I've seen here, but they do think $7 around Irish Flame is not a bad each way go in the last.
Yeah, okay, let's have a look at the speed map before we get to Bevan. Kai Paui, I thought was a very good chance at 26s. That last out run had a whole lot of merit. Lady Guinness, Choice Attitude and Bachelor Babe, all on speed. Bevan, how'd you assess it?
Well, I just decided that if Sir Nate can't win here today in this race, then he's going to be really struggling to win down at Rickett. Now, I know they really thought about putting the blinkers on him today. He has been pulling in his work with the Mon, so just at the 1600 metres, they thought that he'll just be able to get on the bridle a little bit easier with that slightly slower tempo, but he'll have to find a spot. Now, sectionally, he's okay in this race, isn't he? Because you see Milt and Madison County, they're finishing off quicker, but again, the last bit of his work is actually very, very good. Just slightly inferior to the 2 in front of him, but I think he's looking for ground already, and he just looks to me like he's a horse who's going to be best once he gets up to 2,000 metres and even a Derby trip, Aidan. So 1,600 metres today. They've got the blinkers up the sleeve for possibly the Guineas if he doesn't really get across them today. But I just think in this type of race, if he's not to win today, they're going to have a few question marks about going down to the Guineas and taking on the big horses. So he's on top. Outside of that, yes, Irish Flame, as mentioned by Thad, had no luck last time. He just got bowled over, really, and he had to be eased up. He had no luck, he had no run. He's a smart horse, as we've always heard from Johnny Wheeler, so I understand the money there around it. Outside of that, look, Red Cloud, don't forget this horse. He's a big, strong horse by postponed. Lisa Allpress in the saddle for Fraser Arrett. That combination went fantastically on Thursday at White Booker Out. And I know Fraser actually thinks a fair bit of this horse and maybe heading to a couple of decent races. And if it rains here today, and the forecast is for it, and it's looking even more threatening, he'll be right in the mix in the last on the program with a bit of cut in the track. And Tinkerlicious, gee, I'd love to be able to tip your Tinkerlicious A-Rod, and I know Jason went with it as his best bet on the program, but I don't know how many brick balls this horse has run into in its career. It's put up some really good performances, but it just doesn't get the job done. So, look, I'll go with Sir Nate in the last on the program. As far as a betting strategy and best and value on the program here this afternoon, look, I went with Sir Nate in the last because I think he's the one that is looking to really go somewhere post this. My value bet was Tell You What, so I'll have 50 on Sir Nate, I'll have 25 on Windspelled and 25 on Tell You What for $100, and hopefully this is not the graveyard that it potentially can be and has been throughout our presenting careers. Aidan?
Yeah, good luck with today. Yeah, Bevan Sweeney on track for us for Trentham, big fields, and yeah, good racing on a terrific track.